You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 152.2. Will Rutherford reacts to the NFL Playoffs Divisional Round from this weekend.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Well, the divisional round has ended. It ended, of course, with an absolute classic on Sunday evening, as we expected. The Buffalo Bills get past the Baltimore Ravens. Man, two teams that deserve probably to be Super Bowl champions in the end, but only one will get a chance. Actually, there are probably three in the AFC. But your thoughts on Buffalo's win over Baltimore?
They played a cleaner game. They did everything they needed to win a game at home in rough conditions. Obviously sloppy, very cold, very snowy. I just think that they just played a cleaner game. They just didn't make the mistakes that Baltimore made, and in the end, that made the difference. Buffalo scored off of a a Baltimore turnover. Baltimore's defense did play well and Baltimore put the ball on the ground, but I just think Buffalo played a cleaner game and they won the game because of that.
Yeah, now they head to Kansas City and kind of what we've expected all year. I think this week, I thought maybe Baltimore's performance last week maybe made people think they were the team to beat now, but this is kind of what we've expected all year, and the
Yeah.
reason, of course, is Josh Allen.
Yep.
He is it.
Yeah. I mean, the way that the conditions turned out definitely favored Buffalo and Josh Allen. I think more than Baltimore. I think it slowed Baltimore down. It made it much harder for Lamar to be effective outside of the tackles, especially running the ball, escaping. Buffalo did a good job of bottling him up. They had really good run or pass rush discipline. Baltimore did. They got home with four. They impacted Lamar with four, and they really did a good job of keeping him contained inside of the pocket. And the A gap pressure from the 1 and 3 tech was good enough to kind of keep him from being able to escape through the middle of that pocket as well. I think Buffalo just played a really good game. I think
But
they deserve to win this because of that.
but Lamar Jackson was great as he
He
always
was. No,
is,
I mean he
and
was. He
the final drive he was fantastic, including
Yes.
the game tying pass,
Yes, he
right on
was.
the
That
numbers.
is, yeah, right on the numbers. That has to be caught. Early in the game, he obviously had the bad interception on the overthrow. I'm not quite
Right.
sure what happened on that route, whether it was a miscommunication, Aguilar slipped. Obviously, the fumble, you'd like, I mean, I get the ball slick and stuff like that. He just a little reckless with the ball there, trying to fight to get out of that sack, and in doing so, I got the ball punched out. I mean, Lamar played really good. He did turn the ball over twice, but I don't think that's indicative of what his whole body of work was for that game. I do think that the turnovers ultimately were the difference, but I don't think that Lamar played poorly. Lamar played
No,
plenty good enough for them to win that game
absolutely.
because of Lamar.
Yeah, let's stop this. He can't win the big one because today
No, yeah,
he
I mean,
was
yeah,
plenty good enough to win the big one.
I mean, it was Josh Allen-esque. Everybody that's been the knock on Josh Allen, he can't beat the Chiefs, he can't win the big one, but he's performed incredible in losses. Lamar performed plenty well enough today to win. They just fell short. And I would like to say that I think more than anything, this goes to show how important second half timeouts are,
Yeah,
because the fact that Baltimore only had a timeout left after that, the failed 2-point conversion ultimately was the difference in the game.
I would
You
much
can
rather
kick the
take. I would much rather take a 5 yard penalty than take a timeout.
I
And
would too. I would too.
I mean, unless it's something and one to go and it's a big one, you never take that timeout. You've got to have
No,
those timeouts.
nope. I agree. I think it was. I think it was. I don't want to say a coaching malpractice. Obviously, I'm not John Harbaugh, and
And
I'm
he's a
not
great
getting
coach.
paid. And he is, and I'm not going to get paid to criticize him and his coaching decisions. But I think for me, my philosophy would be to keep those three timeouts in the second half
Yes.
of a divisional round where they prove to be the difference between. And I'm not saying that Baltimore stops Buffalo, and gets Buffalo, forces a punt, but it definitely gives your chance a team a better chance of winning if you have those three timeouts and can call them.
Absolutely. And it looked like Buffalo broke open a run there. I think they'd kind of worn them down
Yeah,
in the end, and they were probably going
they
to win
had. I mean,
anyway.
they did.
But yeah, you're right. That's. Let's talk about earlier in the day. Actually,
Okay.
let's stay with the AFC. And again, we don't want to make predictions. We've got Will Rutherford's 5 questions that need answers coming up this week, so we're not making predictions. But I think maybe every single week this year, Will, we had the Chiefs or Bills as the best team in the AFC, and that's what
Yes.
it come
Yep.
down to.
Yeah. I think pretty consistently I obviously had Detroit in there much more than you did. You were very steadfast and ended up being right. But I did. We had Kansas City and Buffalo, and I actually had Buffalo as my number one team for a few weeks.
Yes, you
Um,
did.
so yeah, this is exactly what I expected. I think these are the two best teams from the start. Obviously, they're the 1 and 2 seed, so I mean it's expected to be there. And
I just can't think of many
and
seasons where there were the two teams that were like a consensus. These are the two teams to beat in
yeah,
the conference. It rarely ends up being those two teams.
no, and it definitely didn't happen in the NFC either. So it
Yes.
was one of those where it's very rare to see that actually come to fruition. I would agree.
Yeah, especially through the entire season.
Yes.
Sometimes in the playoffs, often it happens that there are two
Yeah.
teams that stand out, but throughout the entire season, for them to be those two teams to be so consistent,
Hmm.
and we've been saying all year, well, no question, the Bills are the better team,
Yeah.
But the Chiefs win these games.
Yeah. No, they do, and I mean, I'm I don't know which way I'm going to sway yet. I have an inkling, an idea. I'm not going to give it away here tonight, but I've got an idea on where I'm going to go.
Your thoughts on the Chiefs win? Not very impressive, but we've been saying that all year.
It was Houston outplayed them. Houston played a better game than Kansas City did. I know that a 23-12 game, 14, excuse me, that late safety isn't going to prove that, but Kansas City didn't play very well.
Well, George Karlaftis did. He was the difference in that
Yeah,
one.
he did. He played really well. Their
The
defense was
pressure they
good.
got was the difference for sure.
It was, and there was obviously it's been all over everything today. Some questionable calls that definitely
Uh,
benefited the Chiefs. Easily, I think, believe led to 10 points in offense due to the continuation of drives. But I'm not going to sit here and harp that the officiating. Kansas City won the game, right, wrong, or indifferent. But
yeah,
they didn't. They were not very impressive. They were not very impressive. I don't think that they looked very good. Their running game looked bad. Uh,
and Will,
I
we've been saying this since week one, pretty much.
Yeah,
When they needed a review to beat Baltimore in week one, we've been saying
yep,
not that impressive, but here they
yeah.
are, and they
No, here
have
they are.
16 wins now, and they have Andy Reid and they have Patrick Mahomes, and they know
Hmm.
how to win. And this is what I've been saying all year. It seems inevitable to me, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Buffalo uh, looks like the better football team to me. But we'll talk about that later in the week. Let's look at the NFC. And earlier today, um, I tried to tell you what was going to happen, but you didn't listen.
Oh, I mean, my prediction. I know we didn't do the official picks. My official pick was that the Eagles won. That proved right. The Rams look like they belong.
Yes, they did.
They played really well. Obviously, made it very interesting there at the end. Uh, I think the Rams showed up to play. The Rams showed they belong to be in the final four of the NFC. I believe. But
Yep.
ultimately, Philadelphia came in, and I wouldn't say that Philadelphia's performance was all that. I mean, aside from Saquon breaking a couple off, I wouldn't say that Philadelphia's performance was really that inspiring, to
Well,
be
how
completely
about that
honest
they
with you.
needed three guys to block Jalen Carter and still couldn't do it?
Yeah, I mean, defensively they played really well.
That's what I've been
They
saying
they
all year. And
obviously they were porous there at the end. I mean, they gave the Rams a chance to win that
yes,
game,
they did.
or at least to tie that game up. But uh, you know, I Saquon's obviously Saquon. The conditions muddied that game up a lot. The conditions definitely, I think, favored Philadelphia as it got worse as that game continued. But
The reason I like Philadelphia so much is because of their defense. I and AJ Brown might want to make a play before he starts complaining about getting the ball. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I mean,
the off the two things that make me like Philadelphia and the reason I believe they'll be playing in the Super Bowl and get their butts kicked in the Super Bowl
yeah,
is because number one, their defense is young and gets better every week, and they have been
hmm
very good. And Jalen Carter is sensational. But also
yeah. I mean,
the other
yeah,
thing is
I
that
mean,
their ability to get 1 yard anytime they want.
And I earlier in the year I talked about the fact even before Jalen Carter really had this transition into superstardom where he's really these last 5 weeks has been a game wrecker every week. I mean, I said, hey,
Yep.
this is an impact player. This is a guy that give him more time, it is going to work out, and he's done that. He's been everything. The fact that he fell to 10 in that draft is complete blasphemy. No business. I would argue that right now he's the best player out of that draft. As far as impact on their team, I mean, you could make an argument that CJ Stroud maybe, but I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is going to be playing at least a week later than CJ Stroud has played in his career, and I would say that Jalen Carter is maybe the sole reason that they're doing that.
Yeah, but
So
the reason he fell is the same reason that a lot of teams still wouldn't want him. So
yeah, which is I
character issues, it's not likely to last. He's had effort issues in the past. He'll if he hasn't grown up since college, he'll be a headache for that franchise
Yep,
pretty
and
soon.
he went to a mature franchise, a
Right.
franchise that always plays well, and knew that they were drafting and could develop him and do exactly. It was brilliant, just absolute brilliance from Howie Roseman,
Yep.
and I mean I
He
said
is
it
that
that was
good.
just absolute steal.
He is that good. And speaking of that good, our last game, Jaden Daniels, you talk about special, man. That guy is special.
He played really well. I would say that is one out without question the worst defensive coaching performance I have ever seen in a playoff game was whatever Detroit decided they were going to try to do. I can't even fathom how how poor of a game plan it was. It, I could talk for 45 minutes about how bad. I don't typically like to criticize coaching, but I have no clue
Well,
at
we're going to
all
get
what
together
Aaron
Wednesday and
Glenn
talk about all of it. We're going to get
just
together Wednesday
just
and talk about all of it, Will. You'll get
no
plenty of
clue.
time to talk
Yeah,
about it.
Jaden Daniels played phenomenal. Andrew Luck is still the best rookie to ever lace him up, quarterback wise. I will stand by that completely. I watched that year. He took a team that had was ranked to be dead last in the league, um, and took him to an 11-5 year when his head coach had leukemia for essentially the entire year and had an interim head coach. But Jaden Daniels is playing great, and Jaden Daniels is without question. I don't want to say without question, but has been the best quarterback taken of that draft. He deserves to be the rookie of the year based on his postseason performance. I know that that is a regular season award, but he is the X factor. And right, wrong, or indifferent, he is doing everything that he should. He makes, he just doesn't make mistakes. He just plays. He's so accurate passing. His
Mm.
escapability is better. He's a better version of Lamar Jackson.
Well, I wouldn't
He's
go
a
that
better
far.
version. No,
He's got potential to be a
he's a
better
better
version.
he's a more accurate he's a better passer down the field than Lamar has
Well,
been anywhere in his career, and
he's
I
he's
think his legs are equally as good.
he's definitely well. I disagree with that. But he's definitely a more accurate passer. I'm not sure yet that he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a fantastic passer because he's got incredible downfield vision. He found wide open receivers all day today. He is a great passer. I don't want to hear any of that. Um, but your point is taken. He is unflappable. I think a lot like Lamar Jackson, although he wasn't early in his season, just can handle any pressure. Doesn't seem
Mm-hmm.
phased by anything. Doesn't
Nope.
seem phased by any situation. Um, it looked like from moment one, I don't think it mattered what the game plan was for the Lions. He was so locked in, and on the plays where he didn't have a play, he just made one.
Yep. And I mean he is he he's just really good. He's really good. I think we're going to look back at this draft class from this past year and look back, and I think we're going to see three or four generational type quarterbacks that come from it. You know, generational is a strong word,
Right.
but I think we are going to see three elite to generational
Long-term
quarterbacks
rivals.
long term.
Right.
Yes, I would expect that at some point we are going to see a Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels Super Bowl. It will happen. They are both have proven to be nothing but unflappable and carrying their teams that I would say neither of which maybe have any business being where they're at. I obviously Denver season ended early. Washington season has continued, but they have Jaden Daniels is the reason the Commanders are where they are, and Bo
No
Nix
doubt.
was the reason that the Broncos were where they were. So
Well, the
I,
Broncos defense is a little better than Washington's, but
Washington's defense is playing really well. I
yeah, but it's
they
still
are
very
playing
vulnerable.
really really well.
That's the
You
reason
know,
I don't feel comfortable picking them next week. We'll talk more about that. But
well,
my
it's
immediate thought is Washington looks better than Philadelphia, but um,
I think it's a I do think it is a product of uh, poor coaching on Detroit's standpoint. Um, I don't see, Detroit's problem was that they just got away from the run earlier than they probably wanted to. Their defense was really bad. I don't see the Commanders stopping Saquon, and I think Saquon's just going to run all over him the same way he ran all over the Rams today. I just he is so good.
and when you've
I
got
just
a
I don't
when he's not the only running threat on the field, it makes him even more dangerous, and that's what makes Hurt so valuable.
no, I agree completely. I the Eagles Hurts passing the ball scares me. I know today's weather was really crappy. I don't want to evaluate Hurts's
Right.
throwing performance based on the conditions today, but he hasn't been great
No, the last week he was
the
really
last
bad too.
he hasn't been good the last I don't know since he came back from injury. He's been kind of incompetent as a passer. So
Right.
I I think we're in store for two really good championship games. Unfortunately, I think you saw the third best team of the five remaining before the finality of tonight's game. The third best team lost tonight.
No doubt
If
about it.
if if Baltimore was in the NFC, they would be a touchdown favorite going into next week against either one of those teams
As
and
would
would win.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I no doubt those are
So
the three teams in the league. No doubt in my mind. Although when you get in the
no,
Super Bowl, you never know. But
no, you don't. I don't I don't see a situation where a Bills team that's not that's taking care of the football and a Chiefs team that's the Chiefs. I don't see them losing to either one of those teams. I just think that both the Eagles and the Commanders have too many flaws to overcome the totality that is the two AFC teams remaining.
yeah, once Hutchinson got hurt for the Lions, it seemed pretty obvious that those were
Hmm.
the three best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, I agree.
I hate that for the Lions that they lost not just him,
I
but several valuable players.
They were so I know that Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell were drawing up a game plan with third stringers. So yeah, I get that it's you know
Yeah,
I just don't think I still don't think that their game plan was very good. Outside of that, I thought their tackling was really poor. And I just think that Aaron Glenn was just too ballsy. He just was too hell bent on sending 5 and 6 too much. And I think that in the second quarter, after the second quarter, when Daniels kind of showed that he was not going to be phased by the blitz, I think that you would have been much better dropping seven back and just kind of maybe trying to drop six, keep a spy on him, keep him inside the pocket, don't let him run. I just think that they would have been way better off doing that. In the third and fourth quarter, it's like how many times does Jaden Daniels have to torch you for a 20-yard pass on a blitz before you're going to stop calling it? And Aaron Glenn just didn't. He just kept going back to the well, kept going back to the well, kept sending 6 and 7. They had 12 men on the field on a vital 4th and goal. It
Yeah.
just was sloppy. It was just sloppy coaching, and it was just sloppy game plan, and they didn't play well enough to win that game.
Thanks to Will for spending some time with us talking some NFL football. Will will be back Monday with his thoughts on the college football championship game and a little bit more on the NFL playoffs. Then we're going to move his 5 questions that need answers from Monday to Wednesday so he can talk about the college football national championship game, and we will preview the AFC and NFC championship games along with, of course, some Pacers talk and some other things on Wednesday. That'll be Wednesday evening, by the way. Please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow us so you don't miss a single segment. We're on YouTube now. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report and it's easy to find. And please, if you wouldn't mind, we would really appreciate it if you would tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.